What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Behind the Arc Basketball on YouTube. So currently, every team in the NBA plays 82 games during the regular season, but that may change in the future because according to ESPN staff writer Kevin Arnovitz, news broke a few days ago that the NBA is exploring ideas to shorten the league's regular season by reducing the number of games in the schedule. The NBA is thinking about starting the reduced regular season game schedule during their 75th season, which will be the 2021-22 season. Also, the NBA came up with other ideas, which were to possibly add in a mid-season cup and a postseason play-in tournament. ESPN.com stated that a conference call took place back on June 17th with a committee of about 12 top team executives who discussed ideas with league office members about alternative options to the NBA schedule for the 2021-22 season. The three options that were explored were the three that I went over moments ago: shortening the regular season schedule, adding in that mid-season cup, and adding in a postseason play-in tournament. All three of these would be adopted first as a pilot program, and then the NBA would have the chance to observe the trial run and evaluate the long-term viability of the schedule design. That's according to sources. The number of games for a team based on the reduced regular season schedule ranged in discussions to as few as 58 games played during the season, and it went up to just a slight cut of games just below the 82 game schedule. Now, of course, there are pros and cons to shortening the NBA season. The reasons I have here in favor to shorten the NBA season is the reasons from the athletes. It will be helpful towards the athletes. It's what the NBA players want, especially with the number of miles that they go on the court. The big-name superstar players sit out during the end of the regular season to preserve their bodies and rest up for the postseason. When the best players in the NBA sit out of games, there's a good chance that there'll be plenty of disappointed fans too. That's because these fans bought tickets most likely ahead of time to see their favorite players play in action, and then they travel over to the game and then they're looking for their favorite player, and nope, he's not playing today, he's on the bench. So that is not good for fans as well, and also it's for the players to keep their bodies as healthy as possible because the NBA season drags out so much and the athletes really want to preserve their bodies towards the postseason if they are in the playoffs. Now, there are reasons as well that are not in favor to shorten the NBA season and to keep it as it is at an 82-game schedule. These reasons not in favor to shorten the NBA season to keep that 82-game schedule include the profits that are needed to be made with organizations, arena, broadcast partners, sponsors as well. They need to make a profit, and having a team host less games at home would result in less revenue for team owners if the schedule were to be reduced. That's why the NBA started discussing the possibility to implement a mid-season cup and a play-in tournament to keep that basketball action going. Less games also means less highlight reel dunks, blocks, and buzzer beater shots to the everyday basketball fan. So the everyday basketball fan would also see a negative impact as well if these games were to be shortened on the schedule, because these people love basketball. They love to see those top 10 highlight reel plays when they wake up to see the SportsCenter top 10 the next morning. So the everyday basketball fan would take a hit if the schedule was shortened as well. So my take here on the NBA possibly shortening the season in the future. When I first saw the news about this headline that the NBA was to explore shortening the season, I thought that it was really unneeded to make the season shorter. This is basically because the NBA starts their season the same time basically as the NHL season, and they both end around the same time as well. And both the NBA and NHL play 82-game seasons. Now, hockey players have no problem making it through an 82-game season. It's the NBA players that want less games. And hockey players are just really, really tough. They are fierce as well. Ice water pumping through their veins, smashing players against the boards and into the glass. NBA players don't nearly have as much toughness at all compared to NHL players, as NBA players nowadays aren't as tough as what they used to be in the 90s, I feel like, as those days in the 90s were just insane for toughness from the NBA. Michael Jordan played through the NBA Finals while battling an illness. There were so many good players out there in the 90s or so, back in the olden days of basketball in the NBA when they had tons of toughness on the court, and now players are basically sitting sitting out of games basically to preserve their bodies for the postseason and stuff like that. Whereas NHL players are the opposite. They're the ones playing through injuries, playing hurt, and trying to contribute as much as possible to the team, even though they know that they are hurting and are in pain trying to play on the ice. But basically, I'm going to go through here. We'll do the mid-season tournament first and then the postseason play-in tournament later. But since the NBA wants to have that mid-season tournament, I say to the NBA, go for it. It'll either be a big success or a major fail. This is something that we've never seen before in professional sports. A mid-season tournament. We see this stuff with college, with the non-conference holiday tournaments for college basketball teams to play in, that they have TV contracts, that they get revenue off of, make a huge profit off of these college basketball tournaments. These tournaments are usually played around the weekend of Thanksgiving and around Christmas time or so, and they're also played at famous places such as the Disney Wide World of Sports, and also out in Hawaii where they play the Maui Invitational. So that's the closest thing that I can picture this NBA mid-season tournament to be like. It would be something like that. I can picture it to be like a college basketball non-conference holiday tournament in that aspect or something like that. And when there is this NBA mid-season tournament for the NBA, it really needs to be taken seriously. There needs to be some type of incentive there, like cash bonuses for every tournament win for a team. And also there needs to be some like huge cash prize towards the end of it for whatever team wins the mid-season tournament. There needs to be like a huge prize, like $1 million grand prize for the winning team of the mid-season tournament if the NBA wants to make this into a serious and competitive action with a high-quality broadcast as well. They need to do something towards the competitive aspect here. For example, the NASCAR All-Star race is a non-points race. But the NASCAR All-Star race is one of the best races that we'll see throughout the entire NASCAR season. It's basically because $1 million is up for grabs. When you have that cash incentive, everybody's going to play to their fullest extent. Like, if the NBA was to try this mid-season tournament, you got to have a cash prize there. Because it'll get people to play to the fullest potential out on the court. It'll make the competition just like off the chain. So the NBA needs that big cash prize. They need to make this as serious as possible. They can't have these players fooling around on the court because it'll make for bad TV production here. That's not what the NBA should be doing. If they have no award and no cash incentive, I feel like the players will start taking this not so seriously. And then they'll start to fool around, and then they'll start playing, possibly, they'll start playing no defense like the NBA All-Star Game. So if there's no cash incentive there and no award, this could turn into something like the NBA All-Star Game with a amount of points that's scored in those NBA All-Star Games. So that's when we'll have records that'll be broken in the NBA that should have never even been broken if we do have this postseason tournament and these players don't take it seriously. For example, we could have a record broken with the highest combined points scored in a game if we have this mid-season tournament and there's no incentive there. Like, something could be absolutely ridiculous. If we get like a final score like 205 to 200, something like that, like team scoring in the 200s, it'll be something like the NBA All-Star Game. No defense, and we'll have points like in the high like 180s, 190s or so, and you don't want that. You don't want that for television production here. You need to keep it serious, you need to keep it competitive, and there needs to be an incentive there, I feel like, to make this mid-season tournament successful. And also the next thing is that the NBA is thinking about the postseason play-in tournament as a new path towards the playoffs. Now, I'm not a big fan of this one either. So basically, the NBA, you're telling me that the team with the best record could be matched up with either the worst team in the NBA or the worst team in their conference, and then the best team in the NBA is a number 1 seed, and then they lose in the postseason play-in tournament. I don't like this one either. There's no way that I'm buying this one as well. The NBA isn't March Madness. I feel like the team with the best record in the NBA deserves to be in, and they should be able to get a first-round bye past this format, if this format was approved, in my opinion, for a postseason play-in tournament. Maybe the NBA could do something like this. They could have the top 6 teams from both the Eastern and Western conferences, make them locks into the playoffs. they could do that. And then I'd suggest the NBA can have the rest of the teams from number 13 to number 30 in the standings. They could have those teams battle it out for the last 4 remaining spots in the playoffs. That would be something if they did have a postseason play-in tournament. Make the top 6 teams from the Eastern and Western conferences as a lock, and then have teams number 13 through 30 on the board for the standings battle it out for the final 4 remaining spots. But yeah, that's basically a wrap to this video. Honestly, I'd be shocked if this actually got passed for the 2021-22 season to make the NBA a shorter season, to cut down from the 82 current game schedule, and to also add in that mid-season tournament and the postseason playoff tournament as well. I just don't see it happening, but we never know. But thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel as well. Also, let me know in the comment section down below how you feel about the NBA trying to experiment with a shorter season for the future. And for all your best basketball news here in the offseason, stay in the know with Behind the Arc Basketball on YouTube.